Our last speaker and Daniel Dendra about the open source design network, a really extraordinary architect because he's thinking in ways and doing things that are a lot more than architecture. He wants to share the intellectual property and the ideas and also do a kind of know-how donation.
Thanks, Jan, for the opportunity to speak here and the pleasure to finish up this fantastic 2 days event. I'm an architect and working since several years with Transolar together as consultants. But over the last couple of years, we did more and more also kind of experiments. And I'm talking about these experiments we did, which we summarize in the OpenSimSim labs, which we call building knowledge. Since the year 2000, all of us are like in the new majority in the world. 50% of the people in the world live in cities since 2000. 30% of these live in so-called informal cities. Yeah, these are kind of really high, dense structures built by people themselves, like DIY structures. You can call it slums, or we call it informal cities. Until 2050, this number will raise to 75%. So from 50% that live in cities, it will go up to 75%. So the focus of any clean green technology we're using, we have to apply in cities as well. Yeah? Also not forgetting that our population will rise to 9 billion at the same time. So there's a lot to do for architects, but unfortunately, we have a market share of 2% only at the moment. Yeah? So 98% is done without us. So the question is, how can we increase that market share? Because we are the ones who really want to promote also the green technologies. So let's look a bit into the background, what will happen by 2050. I don't know if you all remember the summer in 2003, there was a heat wave hitting Europe with 40,000 people dying all over Europe. Yeah? Last summer, I was there in Moscow. It hit Russia with the kind of forest around Moscow burning and a big smog cloud. Météo France is predicting that by 2050, our usual summer will have the temperature of 2003. Yeah? Paris is not built for these temperatures. So by 2050, we have to, in order to stick to the 2-degree scenario that most of the countries signed in, we have to reduce CO2 to 0. Not reduce by half or something, no, we have to go down to 0. Now, it's not only about the new buildings that we have to build, the 75% of people that will live in cities that need new houses, but also we have to rethink our existing cities. Yeah? We have to rethink how we can make Berlin, Paris work with the new temperatures that we will be facing, with the new climate. So let's look a bit, since you're not all architects, just showing you how we normally work as architects. Yeah? We do competitions, or the cities do competitions, our clients do competition. This is just a small overview over the last 100 years, what's happened. So looking there, 1835, the Houses of Parliament, 100 offices took part in this competition. And it skyrocketed to the Centre Pompidou in Paris in 1971 to 680 participants in this competition. It reached a peak in 2002 for the Grand Egyptian Museum. There was around 1,600 participants in there. Yeah? And don't forget, one team is winning. Yeah? If you summarize that number, 1,600, for such a big museum, you need at least 3 architects working for 1 month to deliver the scheme. So we have around 4,671 architects working for 1 month designing one building. Yeah, this is the number of architects in Sweden. Or it's like 10 architects working their whole life. So we can't call this sustainable design. Yeah? And I'm sure if all these people would have worked collectively together, we would have another scheme than the winning scheme, which is this one. Yeah, because that is only the scheme of around 3 people working on it. So that's why we started to create or to think about new ways of how we can collaborate as architects. Yeah, to create future collaborations, to create more sustainable ways of working together. And I won't talk about this anymore because we heard already earlier about crowdsourcing. I just wanted to introduce you to the vocabulary. Co-creation, that is a platform where you can create cars together with the society. Everyone can help in the design and build also their own cars. Crowdfunding, we heard before as well. That's another crowdfunding for design ideas, yeah, really creating things. And of course, open source, which most of you know. And this is just an example of the architectural world where we also have open source 3D programs. And we started our first experiment last year for the Venice Architecture Biennale, which is the biggest event for architecture, around 200,000 people visiting there over 3 months. And we were invited as one of 50 projects to show what is the possibilities of open source design or crowdsourcing in design. And since we got a really late call, we didn't have the time to say we start an open source design project or like a whole house, but we said we start at the core of the house, yeah, where all the intelligence and technology is in, where your kitchen is, your bathroom. And we called up 10 offices worldwide and we asked them to collaborate, to work together on this idea of creating this. And we asked them, if you want to work with us, you have to work over the next 3 months, but you have to publish your work every week on the internet, and you have to allow people to comment on this, to really allow everyone working together with you. And we had this was the beginning. You see architects started to publish their first sketches, like stupid sketches where you could discuss the first ideas and everything. And it's a bit referring to what Wolfgang was talking before, yeah, when you include at the beginning really this dialogue with the client and the architects and the engineers, where it can lead to new solutions.
It's totally doable to have a kind of a flexible skin where you adjust some sort of flexible PV to it.
What about storage? I mean, if you were to have this kind of skin generating power, I mean...
So, and also what we did, we arranged meetings with the architects and designers, with specialists, such as Transolar. This is a colleague of Wolfgang of Transolar. And we filmed that meetings and we put that online. So that were online meetings, we recorded them, put them online, so people really understand how these designs actually work, how design work happens. So we let them look into the kitchen, which you really rarely get. And so with the idea to see, because how architects design, it's kind of sometimes very naive and sometimes really not looking into the future. So if you compare, for instance, in Europe, you get a middle-class car for 20,000 euro roughly. Yeah? The same money you pay for a nice design kitchen. Yeah? So, but let's look what you get for your money. Yeah? In the car, you get, everything is designed. The sound is designed, yeah? The energy consumption is more and more optimized. You get sensors that recognize when you fall asleep, that recognize when you drive into a tunnel, when the rain is falling. In the design kitchen, you get stupid MDF boxes, which are very cheap material, and you get maybe 3 or 4 intelligent machines which are not networked with each other, not the interface with you is not worked out, yeah? It doesn't switch off the radio when you get a phone call on your mobile. All the things that you get in the car. So where is the money going to and where's the intelligence in there? But of course, this development also has a price. Each new car costs around 1 billion euro as design development, which none of the architects has. Yeah? Remember, we only have 2% market share. And that's a kind of small sketch how normally architects or designers do their design work. Yeah? It starts with a little doodle, with a simple sketch, very naive, and then gets more and more complex. And nowadays, with all the requirements on sustainability, yeah, it gets so complex at the end that they call up consultants, such as Transolar, and they ask them, please solve my problem, help me. Yeah? But it's too late at this point. Sustainability starts at the beginning. Yeah? So that's where we want to open this process and involve everyone from the beginning in a transparent process. And the idea, the end product, is something that should also be developed. So that is the idea for the pot that we designed for the Biennale. So you see, the Biennale is where we presented several pots, where we want to now continue and build prototypes. And these prototypes, architects, designers, people can download and put them in their buildings. Yeah, they can be still creative around. They can create amazing spaces. But what we want to achieve is a really highly performative center, which maybe works with DC, with your solar panels, and so on. And then looking out, not designing any more prototypes, but starting to make it better, yeah, like they do in the car industry, yeah, to develop it over the next years, because it will be applied in so many homes, and people can comment on it and make it better globally and together. And we presented in the Biennale because if we want to include everyone in the design process, we also have to invent new tools. How can we show it to people? And that was the first prototype that we developed for showing 3D models and let people rotate them in the Biennale. Yeah, because if you know kind of 3D programs, they're so complicated, you can't really, or it's really hard to use them intuitively. So what we started, we had these working stations with augmented reality. So you had these cards for every design, and you could hold them in the camera, and you saw the 3D model, and you could rotate it. And you could really allow people to comment on them. So you hold them in one corner, there was a recording starting, and you could comment on that design. Yeah? You could engage with the design in a very intuitive and simple way. And then we had a traditional exhibition with physical models. We had some booklets next to it where people could leave their comments. And we had videos on the wall where we showed these conversations with engineers, with designers, with other people. And just here some ideas of like the pods, how they could look like. And that's kind of our strategy in OpenSimSim, where you see again we have this iteration that also Wolfgang was talking about. When you do design, when you're not happy, you have to redo it if you don't reach your goals. That's where we want to include the people already, everyone, also manufacturers, yeah, the clients, future clients, of course in every of the stages in a different way. And I think the most innovative, what we're going to launch soon, is where people can comment on the building, yeah? The same that Matthias was talking about, the banking, yeah? We're commenting on everything, yeah? We're commenting on books, we're commenting on every stuff, but we don't comment on banks, like he said, yeah? Where you can maybe lose 1,000 euro, but imagine how much you pay off your houses, yeah? You pay off your credit 20, 30 years, and there's no discussion about that. No one is really sharing their knowledge about buildings. And that's kind of the network that we build up. I just want to show you briefly some more experiments that we did with OpenSimSim Labs. That is a project for Berlin Tempelhof, for the former airport. And we were invited to work out scenarios of how that could be turned into a park. And except of the real design of the park, we developed an idea of a virtual park, because the Senat was asking what can be the park of the 21st century. And we said, if it's a park of the 21st century, we have to include social media. We have to include new technologies. So that's our idea, that we have not only the real physical park, but on different layers, also new options, how people can engage with the design, with the public space. That's one idea, how you can take these crowdfunding platforms, which we know from the web, into the public space. Yeah? If you have a dog and you would like to have a big meadow where the dog can run out, and the city doesn't have the money to build a fence for that, yeah? You can find people, you can propose a project, and everyone can give €5. Yeah? But for this, you get something back. You get the public space that you can use, and the people who don't have the money, they get the benefit of using as well. The same like social systems work in the internet. Flickr only gets the money from 10% paying for the premium one, but all the rest can use it for free. And also, like in a big park, how can you use augmented reality? That's the next step. Yeah? How can you find people? How can you engage with people? Also, the city spends €250,000 each year on monitoring the nature there. Yeah? What species are there? We said, let people do it. Yeah, people are interested. They can take photos. They can ask questions. They get involved in the process. They understand, oh, there are species that we really have to keep. Yeah? But it's a fun platform, and it saves money for the city. So you get a benefit of this. If you move something really into new technologies, if you try to open it up, you get a plus. Also like equipment, if you know Tempelhof, I don't know how many from you are from Berlin, but it's a really nice big field, it's always wind there, and you can use it with really nice equipment. But this equipment is really expensive. But similar like your car, you only use it for a certain amount of time. So we have car sharing, why don't we have sport equipment sharing? Yeah? You don't need to build that, you just use it maybe 2 hours a week or something. So we want to integrate that as well. We want to have a platform where you can actually share that equipment and propose new equipment that you want to buy with your friends. And also, like, if you want to make a football match, you don't have enough people, you announce it on the platform, and people can sign in and come to a certain time to join you, and you find new friends in the park. Then another thing, it's a crowdsourcing experiment in architecture, urban design. That's another project for the Architecture Biennale. That was actually a project by Transolar. They were asked to build a real cloud in the space. So that was an 800 square meter cloud. If you want to ask Wolfgang later how they did it, he's probably happy to tell you outside. I won't go into that detail. But we had the idea, how could the cloud live after the Biennale? Yeah, because you spend a lot of money starting with this idea of a cloud. What can we do afterwards? And we said, let's do a virtual cloudscapes. Let's do a platform where people can share their ideas with each other, and that lives on. And we found a company that gave a prize, 10,000 euro, and we asked for ideas for sustainable solutions for the future of our building skins. Yeah, we didn't call them facades, we called them skins, because this will for sure look different in future. And we had a jury. We had, for instance, Chris Bengal. He was a former chief designer of BMW. We had really famous designers and engineers on the jury, but we asked the question, yeah, if you remember my slide at the beginning, how or can we use the crowds to decide what design is good or not? So we played them off, yeah? We had the real jury, but we also allowed for the crowds in the internet to vote. Yeah? So everyone was allowed to put up their ideas. Yeah? We asked only for sketch ideas, and that was like how it looked like after 3 months. So people were putting up their ideas. We also had interviews of the jury members. So they talk about their ideas of sustainability, of the future of the skin. And we had very simple ideas, yeah, that could maybe be developed as products. And that was after 3 months what we achieved. You see the whole world turned green, almost the whole world. We had 46 submissions. We had 250,000 people coming on the platform from 132 countries. Yeah? Countries where you maybe don't know about sustainability, but they went on the platform and they got to know how the future of our facades could look like. And that was the runners-up, and then finally the jury decided for the winners. And we had the winning ceremony here in the Ades Gallery in Berlin. And really the decision of the crowds was very, very close to the decision of the jury. So once you reach a critical mass, you can let the people decide. You can really let crowds decide. And just to finish up, that's our last project. It's called the Future City Lab, because we as planners, like I told you, 2050, our whole surrounding will change. Yeah? But we as urban planners, we don't have an idea. We don't know what we want to achieve in future. Yeah? Every scientist has an idea where he wants to go. Maybe even on the way he will go somewhere else. Yeah? He will do a detour or something, but he has a vision. Architects, urban planners, politicians, we don't have visions for our cities in the future. That's what we want to change. We started this Future City Lab, which is by now a collaboration of 11 universities worldwide. And it's also an open source initiative. We have universities like the ETH Zurich, we have Canadian universities, American, European. They all work on the same topic, and they all work on their own city, how this city could look like in the future. Of course, we give them some guidance. We say, what is the starting point? We will include, again, experts on saying what are the predictions. But really, how it will look like? Yeah? What is the positive outcome, or how it will look like? That's where the students will work for a semester on it, and we'll have this internet platform where these ideas will share. It will be, again, an open source project. So not only you see the final outcome, but you will or you can be involved in the development of the project, comment on it, on the ideas that the students develop. And that's just some like slides on. We will have also interviews with experts on there. We will create a wiki on sustainable urban design while the students are researching. You have to imagine how many students in the world are working on sustainable ideas in cities and all this. But this information is nowhere shared. Yeah? We want to keep that information. We want to create a wiki that other people can join the conversation and work on it. And then create visions that people can understand, that people can see. Yeah? We have to find also a new way how we can communicate with people. And after that, when we communicated that, we will develop serious research out of it. There can be PhDs or other projects coming out of this. And then, of course, what we also heard today, that Japan was just struck in a big process of restructuring their economy, restructuring their way of thinking. Yeah? This was a figure a couple of days ago, around 73,000 houses are completely demolished. Yeah, of course, it's really sad, and we have to, or the people have to rebuild this everything. But at the same time, this bears a big opportunity. Yeah? If we, in this process of restructuring, of course, these people now have other problems. But if we can help these people now to rethink their ways of designing, yeah? Not maybe, you can give money. Yeah? You can go on any platform and give some money for the people in Japan. But Japan has the second largest bar reserves in the world after the United States. Maybe it's not the right way. Maybe we have to help in a different way. Yeah? But we can help maybe with our know-how. We can maybe help as people from somewhere else, like to show them possibilities. That's why we launched this Open Japan project, which, if you want, we can talk about it later. I heard there will be some cocktails after this. And we can discuss how any one of you can get involved in it. So it's the same idea of OpenSimSim, where we actually want to create an open source project. Yeah, we want to make ideas, generate ideas with a lot of different people involved, and kind of bring people from the whole world into this process of redesigning Japan, or helping people to redesign. And you see, sometimes if you come from another point of view, like the Japanese architect building the design school in Essen, in the Ruhrgebiet, yeah, you come up maybe with different ideas than if you are inside the situation you would have never looked at. Yeah? And of course, if you're under a stress situation, you don't have the time. Yeah? So what we're asking people worldwide, and we will also launch a kind of bar camp where people can work with each other very intensively. Don't give money, but give your time. Yeah? What is maybe the most worth to you? Give 3 days of your time to work on project and develop project and show maybe some possible new ways. Thanks a lot for listening.